I'm so nervous. Get that out the way. What is it? It's September 14th, 5:04. Today's what? Monday. And this is What's the Issue? So what's the issue?
Alright, so today we're going to be talking about just in general what is wrong with people's mindsets as far as approaching life in general. Alright, so what do you think the first problem is with people's mindset to approach to life?
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but in my personal life, it was essentially just being hung up on what other people were doing in their lives. And then, I had to realize that ain't got nothing to do with me. Like, what the next man got going on literally has nothing to do with you. There's nothing you can do about that. All you can do is keep moving forward. Next question.
Alright, so when we were younger coming up, we didn't have the perfect parents. Not everybody has perfect parents. That's to be figured out. But what do you think the first step is to, like, if you're coming up from a ghetto situation, a bad background type of situation where your funds isn't the highest and you're just getting like to the age of 15, 16, where do you think the first step that goes wrong for these young black, white, everybody, like just anybody from the bottom, what's wrong with their first step to life for them to go on to continue to fail?
The belief that working a regular job is not cool. That's the problem. Everybody. So again, we gotta quit looking at what everybody else is doing and just do what you can do. Like at 16, I worked at McDonald's, so I had a very different experience versus a bunch of other people because I actually went the job route versus just taking up the streets. But it was crazy because the job that I worked had me more in the streets than being in the streets would have. Because the people I met at the job place, these were grown individuals, and I worked at a rough McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Right across the street from where we went to school. So I'm 15, 16. I've never been to no jail type of situation. I've never been to no YC situation. Nothing like that in my life. God is good. So none of that's ever happened. But I'm sitting at McDonald's. I'm working with convicted felons. You know what I'm saying? I got them guys like, hey, what we doing? So now I'm hanging out with, I'm going to school with these niggas and all that good stuff. But I'm chilling with grown people that's already been through the shit, and they'll tell you, choose another route type shit. But I like getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, expecting that in my bank account. Hey, that was solid for me. So I couldn't complain. Yeah, I couldn't complain. I put in a bunch of overtime, and like they talking about, ain't no money at McDonald's, bro. I was at McDonald's making about $500-600 a check. I put in overtime, and I got the check every time. So for me, it was smooth. Yeah, the job route for me was smooth. Yeah. So
for those that like play sports and shit like that time is a little bit more consumed than the average. But for the average that likes to quote unquote gangbang on the side, or they just in generally go home and maybe hang out with their friends on the side, what would your advice be to them at the age of 14, 15, and 16?
Be a child. Go to school, do what your people want you to do, because there's gonna be more than enough time to do what you want to do later on. Just be a kid. If you balling, playing ball, excel at that. Be really good at that, because you could go up. There's no telling where you could be tomorrow. So if you're talented at something, or your people's been having you in that, stay in that and just follow that, because that's gonna be better than what's out here. But for the ones who are choosing that route, because you know what I'm saying, ain't no other choice, ain't no other way, and they gotta get it, I cannot fault them. But at the same time, while you're doing what you're doing, always have your mindset on how am I gonna get up out of this.
Right.
Always have your mindset on what you're gonna do to get, to find. You gotta have a plan on getting your way out. Don't just let it be that. For me in my personal life, my biggest issue was I didn't have a car to take me from where I was to where I needed to be, which was where all the good jobs were. Like, we live in Louisville, so in the ghetto ain't nothing but a bunch of strip clubs, a bunch of gas stations. What else we got out there? A bunch of corner stores, if you want to call them gas stations. You know what I'm saying? And, little chicken shop, little shicky shacky shops all along the way. So really ain't nowhere for you to get a job. All the jobs is out, the non-member side. That's where it's all at. So once you're able to get you an automobile, find your way out there, you'll be able to get you some real money.
So you bring up a good point. Now, I don't know, I can't speak to if you've ever lived that type of lifestyle, but for the people that are living the worst route, let's say drug dealing, gang banging, maybe robberies on the side or anything like that, you said a way out. Can you tell me something of a way out, like going to get a home, or like what should a way out? What does a way out mean to you? Basically, just to you.
For me, I cannot. Again, I can't fault anybody that lives that way because I understand. Okay, so essentially, somebody, an OG, had broke it down for me. He had told me just like this here. The reason why you can't make a real hustler quit hustling, it would be the same as trying to tell an entrepreneur to quit being an entrepreneur and go get a job and work for somebody else. They just couldn't do it. It's not in them to go do that. That's cool and stuff, but actually have you something legitimate that you're working on actually getting established. And if you don't want to actually do nothing like that, learn how to invest that money. Really, learn how to invest that money. I mean, if you're getting that money, quote unquote, like you say you are, find you a way to invest that money. You don't even have to. If you stock invest, that's great. Literally, you open an account, you throw the money in there, you let it sit in the Robinhood account or whatever. I use Robinhood. I'm not paid to plug them or nothing like that. I just use them because they're effective for me and they've helped me, win a couple of dollars. So shout out to them. But at the same time, just find you something you can put your money into that it's gonna actually pay off some dividends later, and then you can do what you want in the meantime, between time. And now you have to think about that. And that's again if you just don't want to go the job route. But at the same time, everybody got to work for somebody till they see exactly what it's like to work for yourself. Because if you in that shit, unless you're learning how to keep books, if you're not learning how to keep records, if you're not learning if you're not learning the laws, about what you're doing exactly and what you're moving and how much time you're getting for whatever, if you're not understanding how much you're paying a lawyer, get out that shit. If you're not willing to actually learn, but if you're willing to learn and you know what you're getting yourself into, can't nobody fault you. You a grown man that made a grown man decision. But at the same time, don't get lost in that shit because ain't no going back.
All right. Okay, so for those that are in that lifestyle, let's say, let me give you a scenario and tell me how do you feel about the scenario. So there's a drug dealer. He's got 2 cars. He's got a crib, but everybody's always over his crib. It's multiple income and outcoming. He's swerving out of his house. He's doing things that bring on extra attention. How often do you see, well, not you personally, how often do you think that goes on, or do you think it goes on too much?
I ain't gonna lie. To me, I can't speak on that. If that's how you living, hey, I can't fault you for living. But at the same time, for me, myself, you just gotta ease your way out of that. Yeah, ease your way out. If you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing, plain and simple. Every man gotta make his bed, gotta lay in it. So that's how you moving. That's how you moving.
Okay. Well, for those individuals that are living a worse lifestyle, let's just say robbing and stealing and things like that, aside from drug dealing, those who strictly do robbing and stealing for a living, how do you feel about that route specifically? Because there are people that like to do breaking and entries, breaking in cars, just those things specifically to make a living. How do you personally feel about those people?
This is how I feel about that right there. Okay. If you are willing to go out the way to go rob, I don't have no problem with that. But if you in your own ghetto getting people on in your own way, like if you're robbing from people, if you look just like this, if you taking from somebody they first name, you wrong, plain and simple. But if you going out the way to the suburban side of the ways to do what you doing over there, it's different. Yeah, I think it's gross that we robbing and stealing, we stealing pennies from each other. When literally, if you willing to go across that water, it's a whole gold mine over there, bruh. You gonna rob this man because he lived next to you because you heard he got some money. You've been known that those people across the water got millions of dollars sitting there. You're not gonna go across the water, but you'll take his 5 cents. To me, that's gross. But if you want to go across that way and take that chance over there to get that money, hey, I can't match you because that's where it's at. That's where it's at. You taking crumbs from each other back and forth, that's wrong.
The term gross, I like how you use that. It fits.
Yeah, it's gross. It's disgusting.
So people like, okay, so what I want to say is I see people from time to time that actually live a gross lifestyle, to put that in your words, for myself basically. And we other people may call it shiesty and things like that, but I like that term right there. So as far as a gross lifestyle, what's something else that you could consider gross in your definition besides just like taking from people that you know? What's some
I'll put it to you like this: if you a robber and you rob a man with a job, you wrong. If you could have went the route of trying to get it the honest, illegal way, and we all know what way that is. If you're trying to get it that way, you feel me, you willing and dealing, that's cool. But everything else is gross. Everything else. If you carjacking, why you want to take from a man that work hard? And then you're not even gonna know what to do with this man's property. You probably gonna tear it up, and you feel me, it's gonna be left alone. So why don't you just leave that man with his? You can take anything from a man, but you can't take what's in his mind. And that's really what it is. That's the key to everything. What's in the man's head. Because as long as he still have that, you still losing. Everything is temporary. But what he has in his mind can rebuild empires over and over again.
Can I ask you a question about what do you feel like is the difference between a gangster and somebody who's just getting it? Do you see a separation in that?
Between a gangster and somebody just getting it. What do you mean by just getting it?
So just a purebred hustler, because you know, from middle America, let's just say that they see a drug dealer, quote unquote. They see that drug dealer as just point blank period, a gangster. What do you feel is the difference between a gangster and somebody that's just trying to make a way? Even though it should sound very simple, like for people that don't understand.
For me, a gangster and a man trying to make a way is both the same thing. I don't want to get those things confused, okay? Because to me, a real gangster, that man's holding it down, make sure his family eat. He might got a felony on his background, but you can't fault him for that. You feel me? He's still trying to make a way. So he's a G. Everything he do solid. He's not going behind dipping and dabbing out of people's pockets. He ain't worried about what the next man got going on. He's hustling to try to make a way for him and his family, or you feel me, him and whoever he loves, or she's trying to make a way for she and whoever she loves. Because a hustler and a gangster can be both. I feel like men and females can be both, and him both be gangsters. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Now, do I feel like it's a difference between a gangster and just somebody who's out here wilding to be wilding, like a nigga that's just killing niggas to be killing niggas? Yeah, there's a huge difference, because you're not, right, you ain't doing it to be, you're just doing it to be doing it, you see what I'm saying? I understand, I can understand if a man got robbed, you know, but when an innocent man gets robbed and killed, that for me is a bit extreme. You already got what you was looking for. You know he's not great. He try to fight you back. You got a pistol. You know he ain't gonna try to do nothing back to you. But and you don't know him. You don't know this person. You just out here wilding again. You feel me? But because you thought you was hungrier than this man, he got to lose his life. To me, that's just not fair. That to me is ridiculous. That's why I say again, if you hustling trying to make a way, to me that's G. You going the G route. That's all the way 100. But now, if you just out here on that shitey shit trying to rob and stick up, to me, robbing and sticking up is gross anyways. So we don't even talk about that. If you robbing niggas out here, you wrong. It's just easy and you wrong. Yeah. And I hope somebody rob you too. Real deal. If you out here robbing niggas, I hope somebody gets you so you know how it feel to be got. I ain't gonna lie, I've been got before. That shit's sick. These niggas literally kicked in my side door and came in my home and took a bunch of shit. Like, things you wouldn't even imagine would be was taken. So for me, I hate a robber. I hate a thieving ass nigga. Now, hustling ass nigga, hey, you just trying to get back.
Alright, so I like that. Let's transition to something a little bit different. So, you walk out a convenience store.
Okay.
You see somebody get shot.
Okay.
Car pulls away.
Okay.
You check on the man that gets shot.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Explain.
Man, okay. See, once again, this goes back to what I had originally said of I don't want to get caught up in what the next man got going on. So I don't know what that situation's about. That's the last thing I'm gonna do is jump in head first into some things or something that I haven't, I don't know nothing about nothing, because now we tied in.
Right.
So I'm just gonna keep on about my way, and make it to where I gotta make it. Because who's to say they don't double back me, feel me? Next thing you know, we all together. Now we both gone, you feel me? So no, I wouldn't even look back on dude if he got shot. I ain't even gonna lie. I just keep walking. And
So
I mind my own business.
So people don't realize that there's a culture in the way that we live. So there's a reason why we make a left instead of a right, and we take this right because we like this right over this left.
Oh no! I'd be simple. For me, it don't even get that deep with that question. Because you were saying if somebody had got something done to them, and I was there as a witness, what did I just seen? And I said I had seen nothing.
Right.
The reason I say that is because I'm a black man in America, and I know the area I live. What's to say I call the police, they don't get down there, and now I'm on the ground.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, that is a fear for me.
See,
America has put that fear in me.
See, it's a culture. So there's a culture behind our decisions.
Yeah.
Because people would look at some of our decisions and call us idiots or buffoons because we decide to live the way that we live. Because, like you say, I don't want to get caught up in that myself.
Yeah,
like, I seen somebody completely relevant to this topic fall down and hit the ground and start seizing. I completely did not move. Actually, I think we was there together. We was at Kentucky Kingdom. Guy fell over, and
I'm sure I probably turned around and kept going.
Yeah,
my way.
and we
again, Brad.
Because it's not that we want to see anybody actually die, anything like that. But these are things that are outside of us. Like, we don't need that extra attention with the stuff that we got going on. And
I'll tell you like this: when you live in the ghetto in America, and I ain't even gonna lie, where we live, I wouldn't even consider that necessarily the ghetto. Gentrification's happening now. We have Caucasians that live here. But when you live in impoverished situations, you already got too much going on for yourself to be worried about what the next man got going on. You already got too much on your own plate. There's not really enough time to be worried about the people. You got to find a way yourself. Shoot, I mean, it almost breeds like a dog eat dog mentality. It almost breeds like a dog eat dog mentality.
So with that being said, that's literally a part of our culture and our raising. Like, we have to learn these things, and not to say it's a street smartness, but it's a smartness that we have to develop at an early age, or we just don't make it.
Yeah. Man, if you soft, they taking everything.
So, being said, what are some don't do's besides like taking on extra attention that you basically don't need? Stuff like how do I say? Getting involved with the wrong crowds, things on that table. Like,
you ask me, every crowd's the wrong crowd. There's no such thing as the right crowd. To me, in my perfect opinion, I think mankind was designed to be alone. I feel like we do better by ourselves, and then we should get with people afterwards. But as far as like joining gangs and joining cliques and things, everybody grows up after a while. Childhood, it all seems like that's gonna be how it's gonna be forever. But people grow up. Everybody has to grow up eventually. Everybody got bills.
Right.
Yeah, so don't waste your time with that shit, man. Get you some hobbies and stay out the way.
Hey,
I wanna be lit like Lonely.
bitch, I'm in my bag, ain't it? Yeah. Thought that they was better, but without me, shit is bad, ain't it? Oh, you out here looking sad, ain't it? Make 'em mad, and the only thing I gotta do is laugh. I got big paper, use a little nigga, big hater, dick slayer. I might come and fuck your bitch later. The sig Laker, lot of cake like the bitch cater. I'm a risk taker, I ain't never been a big waiter. Hold on, look.
So, we came up in a certain type of way. How do you, when you have your children, what is the first thing you want them to learn under you?
Nothing. Honestly, when I have children at first, I want to learn from them. Yeah, I want to learn as much as I can from them because, you know, as you said, when we was coming up, there was a lot of things that we were deprived of. But now, as grown men, and we can afford to give our kids, you know, somewhat the remnants of the childhood that we wanted, you know, now it's time for us to sit back and be like, okay, so maybe this is how I would have acted if all this was straight, and maybe it's how would I did, you know what I'm saying, if this was this and not that, you know what I'm saying? So it gives me a chance to just, you know, really see what that's about, like see what a kid's about. Like for us coming up, we have to kind of find a way and help out, you know, the whole route type, or sometimes we just want to have it type. But for our kids, it's always going to be on the table. So to watch how they grow is going to be definitely an interesting process.
So we've been together, I want to say 12 years, but I'm for just short for the camera, it's been 10 plus years for sure.
Plus I've been on this, man.
So being that said, we're 24 right now, so we've been knowing each other since we were 14.
Yeah.
And that's some time behind each other.
Long ass time.
So
Long ass time.
the different things that we had to do, people would look like as an illness, like, hey, what the hell's wrong with them? Like, we used to go into the TJ Maxx of the world. We used to go and do like.
It was a time. Hey man, look, all of that shit was for a reason though, man. Literally, like, it was eat or starve. And to be honest with you, it was because shit. After a while, you get tired of getting picked on at school. But we chose the wrong route though. We chose to go steal clothes and, you know, steal stuff from stuff. You know, take things that, you know, didn't necessarily belong to us. But you know, when you wash it on with the dollar bills, it belonged to you.
So I say that to say, since we've grown up and we've matured, we look back at our past now and we look and we say, damn, you know what? Maybe we could have did that a little bit different. But when we was actually there, how easy was it to see the other side of that coin? Or can you see that other side until you get a certain age, or should we have seen that?
Nah, man, I saw the other side. I saw the other side back then at the time, you know. But the thing was, when we, like you said, we met when we was what, 14 years old, bro. At that time, I understood what it meant to be a juvenile. Like I said, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna live that way, learn your laws. I understood what it meant to be a juvenile. I knew what crimes I could commit up to a certain degree, and I knew what I couldn't do up to a certain degree. So if I got picked up, I knew exactly, you know, how much time I was going to serve and things of that nature. So again, if you want to do it, learn them laws and know what's going on in your area about what, learn how much time you getting for that pistol charge, learn how much time whatever you got going on is going to bring you, so that way you can be prepared for whatever comes. So as a kid, I knew what was going on, so I seen it, and I also seen the other side, because again, I always kept a job, and that always kept me out the way. So yeah, we lived here, but going out there gave me an opportunity to see other things from other people's perspectives. Like my boss at, for instance, McDonald's, he was a black man just like me. Dude drove a Range Rover. At 16, ain't nobody else got no cars like this. He owned the McDonald's I worked at. I would give you his name, but again, we got to protect the innocent, so we'll move forward with that. But yeah, cool dude. He drove a Range Rover, and that's always been something that stuck with me, because then it's like, damn, I'm a black man, but I can also own a Range Rover and a mansion, you know what I'm saying, out the way with the farms and acres. So that always been a big motivation to me. Shout out to Mr. W, you don't call me.
When you seen the car he was pulling up in, you said it kind of made you feel a type of way, like you could actually be.
Nah, man, no. It was the fact that I was in the presence of a real black boss.
Right.
Like literally, the McDonald's he cut the checks at the McDonald's. Like his name was on them checks. It wasn't a corporate thing. He bought him a franchise at McDonald's. He owns well, I don't want to give out his business because I'm not in his business like that, but I know the one that I worked at, he owned that. Yeah, he owned that, and he owned a couple more because I got a chance to work at him like while I worked for him doing that. So yeah, just being in the presence of, you feel me, you know, black man that had his stuff together. Like maybe the guys that worked, like it was a paradigm shift. You got to see the guys that chose the streets, and then you got to see the guy that to control a piece of society. Yeah, he didn't. didn't do the streets. He actually owned a restaurant in society. Like he's actually a contributing member of society.
So I went down to Florida, and I know you've been out of the city too.
I've never been to Florida.
Well, I've been to, I've been to Florida. He's been to other places.
I want to go there one day.
So the first time that I got out the city,
Okay.
it made me feel like, damn, I've really been missing out. I didn't leave the city until I hit about 22. I didn't leave the first time until I was 22. And it made me feel like I've been missing. Like,
Missing out, yeah.
there's more to this. When you seen him owning, did you kind of feel the same type of experience? Like, there's more to
Oh no! I've never seen his home.
No,
I just heard rumors about his home. But they said he was some acres, and he owned some more exotic cars, and he don't drive the exotic ones, but he let us see that one. So that's what I heard about him. And it's just now being a grown person, I want property for myself. Yeah, I want the whole land for myself. It's cheaper that way. Life's cheaper when you own land.
When you moved out, when you left to go out of the city and you traveled for the first time, well, I know that you traveled more than that, but when you left for your first time individually without parents or anything like that, what was your first experience once you touched down in the place that you were, your destination?
I mean, I can't lie. I grew up independent. I grew up in a house with my mother and dad. Thank God, you know what I'm saying? Because now I need my pops more than ever in my life, and he's there for me still alive. So yeah, we're gonna thank the man one more time for that. But I've always lived on my own. Like I lived in the basement growing up, so I always had my own door to let me in and out the house. I had a key. Then I had the side door that I used to use. So I grew up in a house with a bunch of people, but I always kind of had my own little section.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a kid, I had my own bathroom. I was like maybe 10, 11, 12. I had my own bathroom. Had my own. Literally, it's a fully furnished basement. I lived there by myself. And then as I got older, I moved back upstairs, but I still had a door on the side to let me out. So, and I had a car at 16, so I was always in and out. I was going. I paid for it, by the way. With those McDonald's checks, it cost me $16,500. Saved that money, and I got that car. But yeah.
So, touching down in a new location, like I can't remember. You went out on a trip with your girlfriend, and y'all. I can't remember where y'all went.
We went to South Carolina.
How was that experience?
Hated it. It cost me $1,000 extra. Literally, no, I'm not even kidding. I had to pay $1,000 to fight a speeding ticket case. Yeah, so yeah, they're cool, but hey, if you get caught speeding out there, they're gonna suspend your license for a year. Unless you got $1,000, then you're gonna go to court and you gotta get a lawyer from out of town if you don't happen to live in the city. It gets expensive fast, believe me. It's just, but I got the lawyer. We went to war. We beat the case. Always pay for the lawyer, no matter what. Always pay the lawyer. Having a lawyer made it to where that speeding ticket didn't go to my car insurance company. So my insurance never took my rate up for it, and it was literally a speeding ticket out of town. And then after the court situations back and forth, and the money was paid to them, of course, I was able to get my driver's license back literally within I think 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, pay them their money, man. Pay them their money.
In life, there hasn't been too many big influencers on us, but
that's a lie. I've always had huge influences in my life. I've always had a lot of influences. My earlier stages in life, we all have influences. I wanted to be like my dad, at first, because of course that's every young man's hero is his father at first, and then it moved on to, this is where life got interesting, because then it moved on to the hip hop music, where I found influences like 50 Cent. Everybody want to be like 50. I don't care who you are. Hey, you can't like everybody want to be like 50, or to be like the 50 Cents and want to be like the Nas's. And you never want to be like no Ja Rule because of the 50 Cent. Real talk. But yeah, having different influences like that, and then the rap music, then the T.I.s of the world, and shit like that. And then I can remember Beyonce and Stephanie's Child. Is that
Destiny.
name? Destiny's Child. I'm sorry, you gotta edit that because it sounds. Yeah, they gonna hate me for that one. You gotta edit that. But with the Beyonce
mean, though.
and the Destiny's Child, yeah, they had this song that came out in like the 4th grade. It's still to this day my favorite song. It had Lil Wayne in it and it had T.I. in it, and it was called Soldier. Every time I hear that song, that's exactly what I wanted to represent. Every man said a man should represent in that song is exactly what I didn't know what all the words meant at the time, but I knew I need to be a soldier. Yeah, I need to be a soldier. I can't go no other way.
Okay, so me asking the influences, what was the female influences on you? Did females encourage you to act a certain type of way, or did you go out and take that extra step to go get a pair of shoes or to go look an extra type of way for a female's view on you?
Yes. Everything I do still to this day, I'm girl crazy. Everything is still girl crazy. Like I feel like these guys these days are weird. To me, these guys are really weird. Like, you rather spend time with a bunch of guys versus relax with a girl. Like, to me, that's really weird. I'd rather have female energy around me. That's what I would. That'd be my personal preference. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go the extra mile to get those shoes. Yeah, I'm gonna wear. Like, before everybody was wearing skinny jeans, I was wearing skinny jeans in high school. With this, and that was back in 2010.
Yeah,
we started school in 2010. Yeah.
Bro, when I tell you, I try to bring back the what's that? What was this? The fatigues.
The fatigues.
Bro, I try to bring the fatigues back, and who was it that killed me out? It was either Wayne or it was your boy Wiz. They came out with the army fatigues. I was so pissed off.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember that Star Year and all that shit. Shout out Taylor Gang, man. It's some good music. He made good music at that time. That shit was wonderful.
Yeah, shout out Wiz. That ain't a shot.
No, you made it up, bro. You still doing what you're doing, but nigga.
So, guys tend to say they don't do anything for the view of the female, but I feel on contrary.
Niggas lying. I said, you lying, man. I don't care what another man thinks about me. For me, that doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna get my nails done because females think it's, they think okay, it's different, man. I went the extra mile to wear the shoes. I bought the clothes. In 2010, when it wasn't cool to wear skinny jeans, I was wearing fucking skinny jeans. And I was catching hell for it, you feel me? So like yeah, I did all that shit. I did all of that, and it was for the females. Wearing the nicest clothes, wearing the jewelry, the glasses. If a female said, you feel me, your hair looks nice in that type of mode, I'm wearing my hair like this for the next 3 weeks. I'll be doing it, hear me look. Like, it literally, like, if you don't do it for the females, I don't know what you're doing it for. Unless you happen to, no shots at the LGBT community or nothing like that. Live your life, do you? But still, don't nobody want what nobody else got. Get your stuff together, player. They just a pimp by his shoes, they say. Yeah, mine ain't nothing right now, so he ain't gonna pan down to him. Don't even trip.
So, for those who basically claim that they don't do it for the females, I feel like every essence of a man is basic. Even if he has 15 to 20 females, he still does the things that he does for the extra bit of attention from the females.
Bro, they want a new female too. You feel me? Bro, they always hate the guy that gets the girls. Mm-hmm. And if you're in a position where you're the guy that gets the girls, you have to maintain. You just got to maintain. You just got to. And then another thing about females that I prefer over men, they take care of you. Like, if your hair starts to get dry, one of them 20 females is supposed to get up and make sure she greases that goddamn scalp. Like, 20 females, bro, that sounds like too much love. Real deal. Could you imagine to have 20 women that want to take care of you and love you all at the same time?
Yeah, man, when I'm telling you my pops, bro, I know. I've seen it.
This shit's crazy. When it works right. Yeah, when it works right, crazy. Yeah. But yeah.
Let me ask you a change of pace question. How do you feel about polygamy for yourself?
For myself, I feel alright. To be crystal clear, why not? I mean, look, if we're allowing, if we're allowing everybody to get married, what's wrong with marrying more than one woman? I don't see. To me, first, if you can find them. If you can find them and convince them, that you're worth it to have two, hey, he's a hell of a man. But I ain't gonna lie, I don't speak on nobody's relationship because we all try to have life in this bubble where it's supposed to be a black and white affair. But again, in my mind, if you have a baby mama and you have a wife, you got two women. Yeah.
So, what's the benefits of being in a polygamy relationship that you feel? Like, how would you structure your polygamy relationship if you was to have one?
How would I structure a polygamous relationship?
Well, I'll speak for myself.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would not structure the relationship. I would have the first woman I'm with structure the relationship with the other woman, and they'll have an understanding amongst themselves. Yeah, that's how I want it. I want them to have an understanding amongst themselves. I don't really care how they get to the understanding, but as long as they find some common ground shit, let them have it.
So, for me, as far as structure, what I would do if I had me a polygamy relationship, it would start with financials. All three of us have all three different incomes. But other people, I've seen that one stays home and two work. I've seen that, and one basically takes care of the house. When the other two come home, the house is cleaned, food is cooked. And mine, I want all three to work because I'm all for a bigger dollar. It's all for a bigger dollar. So, I
think that's why that doesn't happen in America too much, because I ain't gonna stand. You might as well be pimping legally. If you got three wives and they all got good jobs and college educations, hey, they all bring it home at least. You think the United States government wants a regular household bringing in $200,000 a year? If all four of you guys make $50,000 a year, that's a $200,000 income home. You think they want all that money in one house? Be honest. What do you think? And then if one or two of them has a college education, has a college education, now we're talking about $70,000-$80,000 a year. So you could have two wives that make $80,000 to $100,000 a year, and a guy that is only making about 30-something thousand, and dudes $100,000. That's why I feel like they don't allow polygamy in America, man. Because people would be too rich too fast. The game would be rigged. Because really, you could spend two people's incomes and save one.
Right. So, how do you feel about college for people that say college isn't for everybody, quote unquote?
Well, shit. I've never been to college, so I don't really know. I'd like to go one of these days eventually, but I don't know too much about that whole place. But I feel like we all have the same 24 hours. If you're dedicated to learning, then you should be able to learn something. It don't matter what, as long as it's something productive that's gonna help you prolong and be here, for the stretch. Definitely learn about it. Like, I've never been to college. Again, I lied. I went to college for 8 days. I went to Sullivan University. I went there for 8 days, and they left me with a $2,000 tab to pay when I finally walked away from my 8-day piece of education. And the reason why they actually dropped me from my courses was because they had said something about my IRS documents didn't come up right.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the reason why they dropped me from my courses, and that's the reason I did not finish college. No, I didn't get into nothing. I didn't get into some mess. I didn't get caught up doing nothing. My paperwork didn't come in time. So I always make sure you have your paperwork right, because it can mess you up in the long run if you're trying to go that route anyway. But in my perfect mind, life is the best teacher. Because if you're in school trying to learn how to make $1 million from a person that's still in school, I don't think you're gonna learn how to make $1 million unless he already got the $1 million and he's just doing this because he loves to teach. Mm-hmm. Then it's different. That's a real teacher there, and he's actually gonna teach you guys how to do it. That's a real teacher. But a person that's just gonna give you a bunch of information that you could have literally read in your free time, that's not a real teacher. He's just reciting things that he's looked at in the book. And then, you know, if a man's selling fish and he don't eat fish, you should ask a question about that. You know, if a man's wearing gold, if a man's selling gold and he's not wearing any gold, you should think twice about that. You know, so that's how I feel about college. It's cool if you know what you want to do with it, because then you're gonna go far. But if you're just going to go, I wish if your parents have the money to send you, hey, have a good time. Because I know what I would do if I was rich and could go to college for 4 years. Hey, it'd be a good time.
So, I feel like right now the world is moving towards trades more so than college. Like, just from our community. They're all specialized. Like, you got people that specialize in music, engineering, producing, different things of that nature. People are starting to start their own businesses, and it seems like it's growing really rapidly. How do you feel about trades in America, or at least in your community right now? Like, what are the benefits, or what do you see, or what would you tell somebody about trades?
It's not a bad option. I mean, you gotta look at it in a realistic light. Like, let's say we have a carpenter's apprentice, and we just have somebody who graduated from college with a degree in carpentry. Who are you gonna trust? The guy that's actually been in the field with the trainer the whole time, that's been getting his education hands on, or are you gonna leave it to the guy that has a piece of paper that says he knows what he's doing? I think it's pretty. But again, no disrespect. I don't understand the whole process of how that goes. They might have to sit with an apprentice in school too, where if you get a degree and you getting that, that's cool. But if you got straight Job Corps experience, that's all you got. It's gonna work for you.
For people that have not moved anywhere in their life, let's just say they're 20 years old, they haven't gotten their first job, they're still living at home with mom, they're still living at home with whoever, and they haven't actually decided a route. Would you tell them to start working towards college or start working towards trades?
I wouldn't tell them anything. Simple fact of, you can ask any human being at any point in their life, where do they want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in your 20s and you still having a hard time figuring it out, if you're still having a hard time figuring it out, that's because if we're honest with each other, you're exactly where you want to be. You're comfortable where you at.
Right.
And I think that's the problem. People get comfortable early, but there's a whole movie to be played here. There's a whole show that has to run on.
Right.
I'm DZ Engineering. Let go. Trapping at the studio, I hustle hard. Trapping at the studio, I hustle hard. $50 an hour. $50 an hour. $50 an hour. You hear the bass and the power. Ay, ay, ay. Trapping at the studio, we hustle hard. Trapping at the studio, we hustle hard. $50 an hour. $50 an hour. $50 an hour. You hear the bass and the power. I'm DZ Engineering.
So, some of the people that get complacent they sometimes getting complacent over government assistance and things like that, things of those natures. Section 8s, WIC assistance, just different type of assistance from the government.
I won't knock nobody's hustle.
Mm-hmm.
But take some of that money and find a way to invest it in something else that's going to be there for you later. Don't just take all that money and spend it up. Because I know I know some people, you feel me, really getting money from. I know some people are winning, from the government. But just don't waste up all that money, man. Put that money into something that's going to actually help you have a net for yourself later on if things happen to go wrong. And then I hear that the government likes to sometimes take their money back. So yeah, you better save that money so in case they come knocking on your door, you can get it back to them no problem. Don't go fuck it off. Yeah.
So, for people that are stuck in a rut, to say, they like to place blame on other people for their shortcomings. Let's just say you got a homeboy, and y'all been cool for God knows how long, and you coming up on your bag. You go to work. Let's just say you work at Ford, and you getting a real check, like you getting a check.
I heard they get paid at Ford. Shout out to Ford, man. Keep paying people. Yeah.
So let's say your homeboy that never goes nowhere, he asks you for $10 here. Okay, you give him the $10 here. Let's say he asks you for $20 next week. You give him the $20 next week. Time comes to pay you your money. He gives you $5. Then he turns around, maybe gives you $10, but he doesn't give you anything after that. And then when he asks you for the next thing and you tell him, hey, bro, you still owe me, bro, and I'm not really willing to give you right now. And he comes back at you with a, come on, bro, you should know right now I'm in this situation. How do you feel about those situations? Because me personally, I see them all the time.
How I feel about that? My thing is, I ain't gonna give you nothing. I ain't gonna let you borrow. I can't let you borrow shit. I'm just that type of guy. Call me a jerk, call me ornery, call me petty. Bruh, everything costs something. If you a little bit from me is literally a little bit from me. You know? So with that being said, I can give you an amount. I won't never let you borrow nothing, but I'll give you something. I'll give you something. Yeah, I'll give you something. But I will never give you enough to where I'm hurting. So you might need 20, right? I'm gonna give you 10. You got to find the other 10 somewhere else. But you don't owe me back this 10. This is a free $10 bill. And if you reject my 10, I'm gonna take my 10 and keep it trucking.
Right.
I ain't losing no sleep.
Right.
Yeah, man. Look, who said it? The comedian Cedric not Cedric the Entertainer. I don't want to be wrong again. Steve Harvey. Yep, it was Steve Harvey. He said the best way to help another person's situation is to not become part of their situation.
Right.
So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stay away. I don't want to be somebody else you owe.
Right.
Like you said, you in a hole going through hard times. I don't know why you in a hole going through hard times, but I know whatever times you're going through is easier if you don't owe me $20.
Right. That is a true statement right there. Hey, that's a hell of a statement right there.
Yeah.
So, for the people that are on the other side, sometimes they feel they take in to those stories. They say, hey, man, my water bill's due and I'm short 100 right now, bruh. Just can I get 20 off of you? And that person just, they feel obligated. They start to feel like, man, I gotta give him the 20 or he's gonna live without no water. What do you say to those type of people that always give in? Because there are people that they don't.
You're an enabler.
Yeah.
There's a word for that. It's called being an enabler. That person's coming to you because they know they can always come to you. So if you want to cut it off, you can cut it off. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with helping nobody because we all go through some times where we need help. But if you consistently need help, but you need more help than I can give. But if it's every twice in a while you having to call me and be like, hey, well, it's fine. That's cool. That's cool. And again, you might need 20. I'm only gonna give you 10.
Right.
You're gonna have to find a way to get the rest from somewhere else. But again, if you deny my 10, But if I got 20, you know what I'm saying? I'll definitely give you 20. Yeah, I'll definitely give you a 20. I ain't tripping. If I got it, I got it. But if I ain't trying to, you feel me, be injured, I'm gonna give you the help. Because you're not asking me to pay the whole $100 bill. Like that's different. You telling me you going through a time. But if you man enough or woman enough to come to me and tell me that you really going through something and you need this, and I can tell you ain't on no bullshit. You actually need this. I'm gonna give it to you. I don't mind. See, that's different. Again, I will give it to you, but I'm not gonna lend it to you.
Right.
Yeah, I'll never lend you nothing, but I will give it to you.
So, so let's say you give it to them, right?
Okay.
And now they've starting to consistently come to you with the $10, $5.
No. I just gave you a whole load the other day. You can't come back. You can't come back.
So, let's say you tell them, hey, it's time to either upgrade that job that you at, or you need to cut down on some of the other stuff. Let's just say they choose to smoke weed, pop pills, whatever in their free time.
Bruh, first and foremost, I'm not going to pay for your habits. It's over. You got to find somewhere else for that. Again, I will give you a little bit, but not enough to hurt me. So if I notice that you are really, you know what I'm saying, a thorn in my side, I'm gonna cancel that. Because I'm gonna let you know I'm the wrong one. You gotta find somebody else.
So
Support your habits.
so my thing is,
Yeah, they call me Cool, by the way. In case y'all didn't know. Yeah, I don't think I said my name in the introduction, but yeah, I'm gonna say it here. They call me Cool. K-O-U.
So I've seen people smoke cigarettes. I've seen people smoke
I used to
weed.
smoke cigarettes.
I've seen people pop pills. I've seen them do all of this, and then when rent time comes, they ain't got the rent, and they looking around like, I just ain't got it. Would you go completely out your way, which I know you answered the question already, would you go completely out your way to consistently help the person that's not, but they're still doing their thing, whatever their choice is? They're still doing their thing, but they keep
no,
coming.
I'm gonna cut you off. Yeah, if I know you out here getting high on my dime, I'm gonna cut you off. There was this Caucasian fellow that used to ride the bus with me from way back when. You know, again, I won't say his name because, you know, the innocence and all that. But yeah, this man now is full blown. You know, I don't know what he uses, so I can't say he's a this or he's a that. But he definitely does not look like a normal human dude. You know, at this current time in his life. Hopefully he gets the Home Alone treatment that the kid, I don't know what his name is, the guy from Home Alone.
Calvin.
It was
Not Kevin.
Kevin McAllister. I'm talking about the real guy that played him. You know how he?
Oh, the real one.
Yeah, the real guy. I hope he get one of those transformations soon in his life. But yeah, I noticed. Yeah, I can't get you nothing because your parents live right over there. Why are you down the street asking for change? I can't get you. You're not gonna get out of my dime, buddy.
So, for those who consistently continue to do, even and they actually feel an obligation to, because there are yes people out here and enablers, as you see it. What do you say to that person? Not to make them stop, but what do you say to a person that consistently enables a person?
I don't lie. I say this for everybody: go get some therapy, go get some professional help, because we all have problems. The enabler's problem is enabling. The user's problem is using and abusing. That person is going to come to you because you're going to let them use and abuse you. And you're an enabler, so you have no choice. Something in both of you guys' childhoods, or something went wrong somewhere in your life, and you need to sit down with somebody to actually talk about those problems and actually get those things off your chest, because they're both sick. Like, how can you enable somebody to their grave?
I've seen that too.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's wrong. You literally help them right into their grave. I know you love them, but at some time, tough love, for me, that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Well, I'm gonna start talking us out because we're coming to the end of the show.
Decent. Somehow, you convinced me to be here for an hour. I told him originally I got 10 minutes for him. Somehow we got to a whole hour worth of this.
All right. So my last question to you is,
Won't be thinking about most of the things that I think about now. I'll probably be in a different grown man headspace. But where do I see myself in the next 5 years? In the next 5 years. Next 5 years. I want to be on a farm with some acres. That's what I want. In the next 5 years, I want to possess land, both overseas and here in America.
you say overseas. What do you mean by overseas?
Oh, I'm from Ghana, West Africa, so I want to possess some property over there so I can leave my children a decent inheritance. Always think about the future.
Well,
Them's the issues. It's gonna be like that.